mission here in Indie Theory is to craft life-changing art with game-changing tech.
Organ division of aura is our philosophy of rule how you want to rule. There you have it. Creating an immersive experience like the Vow is anchored in the world we build.
You aren't just playing as Indie, you are Indiana Jones. My name is Masaru Oyama. 本作はアクション RPG 聖剣伝説のアクション部分が強化されています。
little check-in with her where maybe you're riding a motorcycle and you've got to save it or something. Or I think the puzzle example you gave was pretty solid as well. But maybe almost kind of like the Mary Jane stuff from Spider-Man on PlayStation, where it's kind of a neat little change of pace for the game. The campaign as you're going through it. I mean, Destin, speaking of Spider-Man, I mean, this seems awesome enough, and it's this well-known big property. Is it too early to say that this Indiana Jones could be sort of Xbox's Spider-Man, if you will?
In terms of exclusivity, yes, I definitely think, and I know you're using a licensed IP there to make the correlation. I think it's going to be their answer to Uncharted, and if they get to continue to make games like this is great because it's not just like a straight up Uncharted clone. It's really unique in how they're presenting combat, how they're integrating puzzles into it. They did say that a lot of the puzzles are going to be optional. So there's going to be, even if you're into puzzles, you can go do all these side things where you can unlock more secrets in each level, or you can just keep on playing through the game and only impact or only encounter those main puzzles. But to your point, Ryan, I do agree. I think this is going to be a huge win for Xbox in terms of a licensed IP game.
So I did a very informal Twitter poll for every game featured throughout the stream. As soon as it was done on the stream, I put up a little poll with the same 4 choices. Loved it, seemed pretty good, looked okay, and I didn't like what I saw. So we'll check in on every game for this. For Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, which is indeed the name, which was dug out by a sleuthy internet user prior to this that I think we'd written up on IGN. I will say that Indiana Jones, perhaps unsurprisingly rather, had the highest satisfaction rate of any of the 4, any of the 5. So of 2,000 votes and still rising here, with over 2,000 votes, 2/3 of the respondents on my little mini Twitter poll, 66.4% said loved it, 21% said seemed pretty good, just 8% said it looked okay, and 4.2% saying I didn't like what I saw. So this was quite an overwhelmingly positive viewing that everybody just took in, and I certainly am right on board with it. I had high expectations for this, and as soon as they confirmed that it was first person, I was like already over the moon, because I've talked on, if you're a regular listener or viewer of Unlocked, you know that I have a soft spot for first person games in my heart. It's always been my favorite genre. I like when first person games aren't just shooters, when they try some different stuff, which is part of the reason why I think Chronicles of Riddick: Escape from Butcher Bay is one of the probably 5, definitely 10 greatest original Xbox games ever. If you've never played it, it's probably backwards compatible. I don't have that definitively in front of me. It's not. So there was I know there was a 360 like sort of remaster, upgraded visual version, but Justin, it's not backwards compatible.
It's not. To capture the B-roll that hopefully Red has ready, I had to go back and get up to 360 and capture gameplay of the 360 disc. But that game holds up really, really well. It was easy to pick up and start playing again. And it was one of those first games that took a licensed IP and did something really, really cool with it. Yep. It takes place, and we're talking about Riddick at the moment, it takes place like before he gets his eyes shine, and you go through the whole story of how he got that and how he escapes this prison. And I like how they're sort of using the same formula for Indy here. They are taking a story between Raiders and Last Crusade and telling us about it, just like they did with Chronicles of Riddick. Riddick opens up, you've been captured by Hoxie, who is in the Pitch Black movie, and he takes you to the slammer. And yeah, this is the 360 game that you're looking at right now if you're watching along with us. And believe it or not, it still plays pretty well. I was surprised. I was surprised how easy it was to pick up and start playing again. But I played through it. Yeah, definitely showing its
I'm
age.
scared.
Definitely showing its age. That's
Well,
for sure.
in almost 20 years ago, 2004, I think, was the original Xbox release of this. Maybe 03. Anyway, almost 20 years ago, it was stunning on the original Xbox. It was an original Xbox exclusive. And if you're watching or listening to this, going, well, wait a minute, why are you talking about Riddick, Escape from Butcher Bay? That was Starbreeze. Well, Machine Games. I do apologize. That's the like core bit of information I'm leaving out. So let me fix that. Machine Games, who of course has done Wolfenstein games and done them so well, they were started by the core team that did Riddick at Starbreeze and then left and founded Machine Games. That's why I'm drawing that direct parallel. And the fact that Indie, they were talking about how it's gonna mix in. You can do melee combat, gunplay, and stealth. Like that's all stuff that they did in Riddick. They did it exceptionally well.
If Rick can bring up the gameplay that I provided him, all cut up real nice. You can see like how they integrated the stealth mechanics and really just own that character. And the reason I'm so excited about Indie is because it looks like they've managed to do the same thing. This is the old Indie. This is an exclusive footage.
Well, it's still good to take a look at Emperor's Tomb here, because this is what a AAA Indiana Jones game looked like exactly 20 years ago. The game came out in 2003. It was done by, again, a very talented developer, The Collective. And for fellow olds, might remember that The Collective kind of put themselves on the map at the time. They did an awesome licensed game of their own first. They did a Buffy the Vampire Slayer game. It was really good for PS2, for original Xbox, and then they did Indiana Jones and the Emperor's Tomb there. But yeah, hopefully Red is picking up that Riddick footage that Destin had prepped, because there are more parallels that can be drawn there, and it is, like, I would say, well, I guess since you can't play it on Xbox, it's not backwards compatible. If you've got even a reasonable gaming PC, nothing top of the line, just go buy it on Steam. I'm sure it's probably quite cheap at this point, and as Destin was saying, it's pretty easy to pick up and play even all these years later, which speaks to how good the design is. Destin, do you want to talk a little bit about more about Riddick here?
Yeah, so Riddick, just again, all first person. There were like story elements where you had to befriend certain characters, and then he's Riddick, so he betrays everybody. And you were really limited on your ammunition, so it wasn't just you go in guns blazing or anything, right? You had to figure out how to hide enemies, how to utilize the tools at your disposal, how to utilize the darkness to your advantage, and it was really, really smart how they put everything together. And this scene in particular was actually shown during their teasers for it, and it at the time it was really impressive. You have to remember this was an original Xbox game where you could like do all these sort of takedown moves, and you could counter people in first person mode.
Dynamic shadows, dragging the bodies into the darkness, all that stuff was new.
Yeah, so this was all new tech, and fast forward 20 years or so, we have another game mixing third person like we're seeing right now with first person combat, and I'm really, really excited about the potential.
Yeah, in fact, I would say, at least my memory tells me, that Riddick was probably 25% at the most gunplay, and the rest of it was first-person melee stuff, either with just your fists and choking guys out, or with like a shiv. And Indiana Jones seems like it might be the same way. Like clearly the whip is going to be your primary melee weapon, other than just we saw some fisticuffs in that gameplay demonstration as well. But I suspect gunplay is not going to be a huge part of Indiana Jones here, because Indy's not, this isn't going to be a first person shooter. I mean, I think that much is clear already.
I was a little surprised to see him pull out a pistol in one of those shots and the quick jump cut away from it. I was like, oh, we don't want to see Indy murder anyone today? All right, fine. I was kind of hoping to, but sure. All right. Also, real quick, from Max, he made a list of some callbacks and Easter eggs. So there was the Wilhelm scream when pulling the Nazi off the ledge. Dr. Marcus Brody will appear, and the spider running up Indy's arm when reaching into the hole was reminiscent of Temple of Doom. So there are some little love letters to indie fans there. I'm gonna admit I'm gonna have to go back and rewatch them because it has been so long since I've seen the movies.
They nailed, and the other part of that I thought they really nailed is the humor. Even those small pieces, I think that's a big part of the indie series, and that character is getting those moments where you bounce between this kind of very serious moment, you being in peril, and then also having those kind of winks and nods. And it feels like they've also kind of captured that in this, and the kind of that ethos of who Indy is and as a character. That's going to be really fun, and also like some of the stealthy pieces, I wanted to see a little bit more of that. But excited to see that you're going to have some of those moments where you're watching where some of the enemies are pathing and kind of figure out where they're going to go, and doing that from this first person perspective is going to be really fun to be able to kind of see. It makes me think about all the callbacks that Stella talked about and what else we'll see. That was a big part of the series for sure.
I feel like for the most part you're going to be in these really close encounters and going to need to utilize stealth. I don't think you're ever really going to go in guns blazing. Like he shoots one bullet in this whole thing. Well, okay, to be fair, he gets on a turret later. But I think when there's like a clear advantage, like a turret, they'll utilize that. But I like the idea of him having to utilize his basic tools as opposed to like a machine gun,
Yeah, and I was, as you were talking, I was racking my brain trying to think, like, have we ever really had a first-person game where you use a whip a lot? And the only thing that came to mind, if I'm missing one, please call it out, Bulletstorm with the leash. That was the only game that came to mind. Darksiders 3 maybe, too. I'm being a little voice in my ear. But was that first-person, though, Darksiders 3? No, it wasn't first-person, so that doesn't count, but yeah, it's just everything about this reveal made me happy. I came in with very high expectations. I mean, I guess before we talk about the other super awesome piece of this, which is that it's coming out this year, and I do want to sort of discuss that and what it means for this year of Xbox. Kind of want to just go around. I'll start with Khalif. What were your expectations for Indy coming in, just knowing the pedigree of the studio and whatever you thought this game was going to be? And did this reveal meet them, exceed them, not meet them? How you feeling, Philly?
Yeah, I think it met all of those expectations. My only worry for this game was around, is this IP old enough that the generation that we are now in will just have forgotten it or not have it won't have any relevancy to it. And I think now getting a chance to see what the gameplay looks like, what the visuals look like, all of those pieces, I think that's how you bridge that gap, where even if you didn't have that kind of fandom or that feeling of what does this mean to you and what does indie mean to you as a character, just looking at it from a game perspective, it looks like a AAA, very highly polished video game that you would want to check out no matter who you might be. And I think they've probably figured out that gap in between that relevancy and what we know in that fandom. So very, very excited for that. And I think they absolutely hit every expectation I had. So I'm super excited for that.
How about you, Stella? Where are you coming in and where are you coming out of this?
Honestly, just because I have no real attachment to this franchise, I kind of didn't have an expectation because we also weren't sure if it was first person, third person. So I really went in with no expectations, which is honestly the best way to do that, so you don't put pressure on them. So yeah, coming out of this, again, like I said, I want to see more gameplay. I want to see Indy go through a level in particular. Maybe less is more in terms of game reveals, right? We don't want to see games show everything off, just like those movie trailers that show the entire plot. But I do want a little bit more in terms of the narrative, what exactly is going on here, and the the push for him to be exploring here, right? And I think you did say that this was going to take place between two of the movies, which is really cool. But yeah, I am coming out of this with a few more questions, and I want to know how this is really going to look like when it comes out at the end of the year. And yeah, for me, story is always really big. So story and combat.
Destin, how about you? Where were you coming in? How you feeling now?
I came in with very low expectations, not thinking that I would particularly like Indiana Jones, and it is by far my favorite thing from the developer direct. I am tremendously excited to see more of this game. And one thing we didn't talk about are the locations that he's going to be visiting.
Yes.
Right away, something is stolen, and he has to go to Rome, and then he goes to a jungle area. I'm not even going to try and pronounce the location that he goes to. He goes to the Egypt pyramids, and he goes to the Himalayan mountains. So you got a green location, a sandy location, a snow location, and a city location just in this trailer alone. So he's going to be
There
going.
was a Zeppelin in there too. I'm sure we're going to be getting to fight on one of those.
Yeah. So not only is it going to be visually diverse, which is just amazing, but its integration of puzzles is also really, really exciting to me. It made me think of, I've had Legacy of Kain on the brain right away, which mixes these little combat sections with puzzle sections, and I haven't really played a game like that in a long time. So to see Indy, just everything about the tone of this, I'm just like, this is exactly how I would want an indie game to be. It's perfect for the character, and it's perfect for those combat encounters, and very, very stoked afterwards.
Yeah, I mean, I came in with pretty high expectations given everything this studio has achieved already, and I would say I'm even on a higher cloud 9. It might be a cloud 10 after this. I could not have asked for a better gameplay reveal than that. I love how many how much of the soul of Riddick is in this, and in addition to the technological achievements going on too. Like, this is a beautiful looking game. I think it's super significant. What one of you mentioned it earlier. I think it's quite significant that they licensed Harrison Ford's likeness for this. Like, so they didn't just get like a kind of not quite Harrison Ford look. Like, it's him. It's not his voice, which was to be expected given that Mr. Ford is north of 80 years old and this is set when he's much younger. But the sound-alike sounds great, and I'm loving this. So, Indiana Jones, 2 thumbs up from all of us here. Let's talk about the game that I think we were probably most excited for after Indy coming into this, and that is Avowed. So, Avowed, I'll tee up all of you by first mentioning, again, my informal Twitter poll. So, let's see here. Thoughts on what you saw of Avowed? Just about 40% of people said they loved it. 33%, so pretty close, saying, seemed pretty good. 18.6%, it looked okay. 8.5% saying I didn't like what I saw. So not quite the same ultra satisfaction level as Indy, but still overall pretty darn positive. And Destin, I'll start with you for Avowed, because this is a game that you've been talking about. You talked that you were a little kind of maybe unpleasantly surprised at the art direction change from the gameplay reveal we got at the showcase last year relative to the sort of CG first-person tone piece that we got at the actual announcement of this back in 2020. So now that you've seen some gameplay, how you feeling about Avowed?
I think gameplay looks a lot better than that original gameplay teaser that they showed. They did a better job of giving us an impression of how things are going to play out. They also focused in on story and how the story is going to be integrated and how there will be more moral nuance and consequences to your actions throughout your gameplay experience. But the one thing that got me was the combat. I was very pleasantly surprised to see an improvement on the combat, because in that initial trailer, there was a lot of stuff just running straight at you and then you kill it, right? This time you're like, they're showing the shield dash, they're showing counters, and they're showing a lot of really, really interesting, cool stuff that you're going to be able to do in this game. And being able to switch on the fly to different styles of combat, like from magic to melee, to sword and board, I like that a lot. I like that you're going to be able to do that. Fall 2024, still, they said rich, weird, and wonderful was the goal. I think they achieved that, but it's still a wait and see for me. I'm excited, but I'm waiting to see how well they nail that story. and I'm totally gonna kill that guy that they they teased at the beginning. He's gone. Sorry, buddy.
Oh man.
Before I throw to Destin, and excuse me, to Stella and Khalif, I just want to real quick. We're doing this live on the fly. We were just watching this. Like, we're not having time. We can't like take in any like information that's coming in after this. And so our producer just was in my ear telling me that Troy Baker is voicing Indiana Jones. So kudos to Troy for a fantastic Harrison Ford impression. That is 2 thumbs up. He's playing someone besides Troy Baker in a game this time, which is nice to see. All right, back to Avowed. Khalif, your thoughts on this one?
I am not voiced by Troy Baker, but
you probably could be though. He's that good.
He's that good. It looks great. I think one of the things I came away with is, ditto on everything that Destin said. I think in the combat, the one thing I'm a little bit worried about is it does look a little stiff when you're doing the melee parts of the combat. I would love to have seen a little bit more kind of reaction from some of the enemies when you hit them with your sword or when you hit them with the melee weapon. Because I think that just adds to that layer of what you see in that first-person mode and that first-person perspective. But I think what really came through was the dedication to environments in a way that I think they nail every time with the team from Obsidian. I think they continue to make these really expansive worlds that you want to be in, that you want to kind of engage with, and you want to explore. And how does that kind of reflect the ways that those different biomes and those different kind of spaces that you'll be in, how do those kind of really play that environmental storytelling up? How does that really bring to the forefront, what your character is going to be? How do you decide to play that character? What are those kind of tertiary layers of the experience going to wind up being? And I'm excited for what they're going to pull together for this. I think a lot of folks are going to be, excited about the potential of what it means to kind of role play this way. In this space, and that's always going to be.
Stella, your thoughts on Avowed?
Yeah, I think the environments look gorgeous. It makes me miss Outer Worlds, and I want Outer Worlds 2 already, which I'm so sad we didn't get a look at today, which is fine, I guess. I'll wait. But yeah, I think the combat is the thing that I'm getting stuck on. I don't mind going through a game just for the story. Like, if there's a good narrative, I'm into it. But the combat does look a little bit stiff. Like Pa said, we talked about this during the show when we were watching. And it's interesting because even the wand and the swordplay looked a little bit similar. But yeah, there was something about, I was mentioning it, I think it's the FOV or something that makes it seem a little bit.
It's one of the most incredible settings in the world of Aora. There's going to be a lot of great secrets to discover, one of which has a really personal connection to you as the player character, and you're going to have a great time getting to know those secrets and leaving your mark on the world. And when it comes to encounters, our combat brings the best of the moment-to-moment fun that comes with action-oriented gameplay and the depth and breadth of choice that you get with an RPG. Here to talk more about Avowed's combat is Gabriel Paramo, Gameplay Director.
Here at Obsidian, our team's overarching goal is to empower you with choice. So we developed a flexible combat system that allows you to quickly swap from spellcasting and sharpshooting to melee combat. We want to give you the freedom to mix and match your loadout to fit the way you want to play from moment to moment, uninterrupted. For all battles, you can combine a variety of weapons, attacks, and abilities for tactical advantages against a wide range of enemy types. It's not just hacking and slashing. You're making real-time decisions about when to use your abilities, powerful melee attacks, blocks, parries, and special attacks. If you choose to approach combat with a one-handed wand, it feels quick and snappy when dealing damage to enemies at mid-range. Using the Tanglefoot ability, you can stop enemies in their tracks, giving you the opportunity to focus on weaker or tougher combatants in an intentional and controlled manner. It's important to pay attention to the types of enemies you're dealing with. Some units are extremely defensive, some are brutishly difficult, and others you must make sure you prioritize or their healing capabilities will put you in a tough spot. To help with the different encounters you will face, we provide customizable loadouts that can be quickly switched during combat. That means you can play however you want. Equip a sword and shield and charge into battle. dual-wield pistols and control the encounter mid-range, or even dual-wield wands to feel like a gunslinging mage. You could use your enchanted wand to freeze enemies, and then use your offhand weapon's power attack to shatter them. We've worked hard to keep you constantly engaged as battles unfold by creating a balance between pressure and manageability during combat.
Players will have ample choices for how to build and progress their envoy in the world of the Living Lands as they get to know the game and the story and explore the many diverse regions. Some quests in Avowed will have you make difficult decisions with profound consequences, like this side quest you may encounter in Shatterscarp, the third region you'll explore on your journey through the Living Lands. As you're exploring, you come across the bodies of these fallen soldiers, and as you explore the remains of the battle, it's up to you to determine who, if anyone, is at fault.
Just the four of us. Manu, Kiri, Naoki, and me. Training under Captain Ruiki. Trying to keep Thirdborn safe.
In other words, you're a gang of vigilantes. Not that I'm one to judge.
Here. Take my badge. Take everyone's. Our families deserve to know we fought and died for them.
Making the right choice isn't always what it seems. We embrace moral nuance and gray areas, trusting players to make tough decisions in complicated situations.
My squad and I rested in the cave by the water last night, and as we were sleeping, we were ambushed by those miserable Zorubs. I was so surprised, and it was so dark. I just got separated from everyone else. Look, I can't face those monsters alone, but I have to know if anyone else made it out. Of course he did. Sergeant Asui never has a thought he won't say out loud. So what did he tell you? That Captain Ruiki was sick? That I was paranoid? That I was a dumb baby? I heard it all often and loudly. Wait, if you found Sergeant Asui, why is he not here with you? What happened?
At the end of the quest, you have a choice. When you confront Private Naoki, if you believe the story he's told you, you can hand over the badges and let him go back home.
You're right. Real battle isn't something you can prepare for, is it? It's not my fault. No, they should have never have camped in the cave. I'll take the badges. I'm going back to Thirdborn.
But if you confront him, if you believe that he fled the site of the battle as an act of cowardice, then he might challenge you to a fight to reclaim his honor. Either way, when you return to town, you'll see the consequences of your actions and the choices you made during this quest. Creating an immersive experience like Avowed is anchored in the world we build. Art director Matt Hansen and the team have worked to create a unique, colorful, and dynamic visual style.
From the outset, we knew that we wanted Avowed setting to feel rich, weird, and wonderful. We found inspiration in a wide swath of real-world cultures, helping us create a unique RPG experience. By contrasting the vibrant with the dull, or verdant spaces with sickly ones, we can better deliver complex emotional experiences for our players. The Living Lands is a continent of untamed valleys with widely varied biomes, from luxuriant forests to volcanic wastes, and each of those regions itself is a conflux of storied landscapes. All of the regions have a lot of special things associated with them, but I have a deep place in my heart for Shatterscarp. As you're wandering the wastes of Shatterscarp, you might notice off in the distance a vibrant jewel of color. By transitioning from destitute, muted tones of a wasteland of sand and marching in towards a beautiful oasis, there's the opportunity there for life, for adventure, and even a little danger.
We hope you've enjoyed this look at Avowed. We're thrilled to share more about the game in the coming months, and we can't wait for you to explore the Living Lands when Avowed launches this fall.
Hi, I'm Dom Matthews, studio head here at Ninja Theory in Cambridge, UK. We're now in the final months of development on Senua Saga Hellblade 2, and the team is working hard to bring you an unforgettable journey into Senua's unique world and her battle for survival, where we have once again combined high fidelity and immersive presentation with a shorter, narrative-led experience that focuses on the things that we really care about, and that we hope you care about too.
Senua is back with a new quest. She wants to stop the Vikings who raided her village right at their source, in Iceland. But not just her quest has changed. Senua herself has grown since the first Hellblade. She's made peace with her past and is no longer in such fear of her visions and voices. While the Furies are still her constant companions, she encounters new people along the way, some of which will value her unique perspective, and others who will reject it.
Little by little, this settlement became my tribe.
In the game, Senua arrives in 10th century Iceland on the trail of the Vikings who have been enslaving her people. In the story, we're trying to be as faithful to history as we can up to a point, establishing a solid framework and then building more surreal elements on top. Senua will face up to giants who have plunged the land into chaos, and which in turn has seen the rise of the Droiga, a violent threat that has swept through the settlements that she'll discover. Senua will make new enemies and also new allies who will come to see her unique perspective as a beacon of hope. And she'll discover, along with us, how this viewpoint can have its advantages.
Senua is a Celtic warrior who experiences psychosis, seeing things that other people don't, hearing voices, and having unique beliefs about the world around her. To bring Senua's perspective of the world to life in a truthful way, we have once again worked closely with Professor Paul Fletcher at the University of Cambridge, as well as people with lived experience of psychosis.
What does that mean? It's terrifying.
Players will find themselves traversing beautiful and hostile environments, seeking answers from patterns and signs that Senua sees in her own unique way, and battling through encounters with enemies that will push Senua to her limits.
On Saga, we've taken everything to the next level. With a new motion capture space, a bigger stage team, a stunt crew, and a new cast.
We spent a lot of time planning the motion capture shoots, thinking of what events would be good to bring into this fight. Like, how can we make this fight feel different from the previous fight? We have all new combat for the sequel. One of our key goals was the ability to actually tell a story throughout it. It does feel very different from the first game, but it's very brutal and you're very invested in it. Senua isn't a superhero. She's fighting for survival, and we want the player to feel her struggle in every step of her journey. We want the player to always feel like they just scraped through, just survived it.
Mel knows Senua better than anyone, better than I do. Her instincts are amazing, and she really doesn't need much help from me. On stage, our main focus is storytelling. So I get to watch the actors and see all the beautiful expressions on their faces. And then I have to wait a little while, and then I get to see that all again, in-game, in costume, on location, everything. It's a great experience, a great process.
Every discipline in the studio is unified in achieving a deep level of immersion to help suspend your disbelief and pull you into Senua's story. We were lucky enough to do a few reference gathering trips in Iceland. You have to be there. The sense of scale, everything is incredible. And you see a scene or you see a small section of the game and you're like, yeah, that works, that's amazing.
Senua experiences reality differently, and a part of this manifests in the voices he hears.
She will collapse. She will collapse.
These voices come to life through binaural audio, which provides a good representation of this type of auditory hallucinations. As we focus in immersion, binaural audio is perfect for this because through headphones, you surround yourself in a three-dimensional space. In the first game, we only applied to the voices that Senua listens in her head. In this game, through spatial audio technology and some extra little things within the game, there is music that is binaural. Every single sound has the potential to be binaural, so everything is spatialized around you, and it's a very beautiful experience. Music is a strange language in the sense that it speaks to our emotions fast and deep. It's not only about quality, it's about personality. So when you listen to Hellblade, you know it's Hellblade. On the music, we are working with Hylum, which for me is a personal privilege because I really admire them. We feel their craft, their depth, their meaning in the music. It really connects with our game and elevates it to something really special. We are also working with a heavy metal singer, throat singers, and our very own Furies. They sing so beautiful, and we add that binaural touch of music. So this all creates a very immersive and a very special and unique experience.
Our mission here at Ninja Theory is to craft life-changing art with game-changing tech. And that's our aim in Senua's Saga Hellblade 2, is to not only see where Senua goes next, but to deliver something really meaningful for our players.
My hope is that they will really connect to Senua as a character, and even if they can't really relate to what she's going through, maybe they know someone that relates to that character and they can then understand that person better.
Well, I don't want to sound cheesy, but in a way I'm Senua, right? She exists and doesn't. It exists through all of our work, through every ninja. So we all are Senua, and we are creating this character that grows and grows and grows and grows and keep growing and keep changing. So that makes it real.
I'm so proud of the love, care, and passion our team here at Ninja Theory are putting into Senua's Saga Hellblade 2. Our hope is to not only create a game that is great to play, but to craft an experience that leaves you thinking and feeling. From our combat gameplay through to our action set pieces, from our cinematic scenes to our puzzle solving, everything is crafted in service of Senua's journey, a journey that you can embark on May 21st.
Greetings, Xbox players. My name is Masaru Oyama, producer for the Mana series here at Square Enix. 聖剣伝説ビジョンズ・オブ・マナの情報を Xbox ユーザーの皆さんにいち早くお伝えできる機会をいただけて大変光栄です。コンソールゲームとしては約17年ぶりとなる聖剣伝説シリーズの完全新作。聖剣伝説シリーズは1991年にファイナルファンタジー外伝として誕生して以降、マナと聖剣をめぐって描かれる愛をテーマに、個性豊かなキャラクターたち、心に響く楽曲の数々、武器の特性を生かして戦うアクション RPG として、これまでに17作発売され、長らく愛されてきました。本作は30年以上の歴史あるシリーズの最新作となるため、これまで培われてきた聖剣伝説としての世界をしっかり感じられるものを目指して鋭意制作中です。フィールドでは 自然や精霊とのつながりを感じられる色彩豊かな聖剣伝説の世界を体験してもらえると思います。シリーズおなじみのモンスターたちも本作に登場しています。今回、これらのおなじみのモンスターたちを作り出した聖剣伝説の生みの親である石井浩一さんとともに、聖剣伝説ビジョンズ・オブ・マナの内容を紹介していきたいと思います。
Hello, I am Koichi Ishii from Grabs. I am so happy to introduce the newest game in the Mana series to Xbox players. 初期の頃からシリーズ作品に登場しているモンスターたちは私が考案したものですが、中には小学生の頃、すでにイメージができていたものもあります。今作では、はじめはドット絵からスタートしたモンスターたちをどのような形で最新化して聖剣伝説ビジョンズ・オブ・マナに落とし込むか、デザインの方向性からモデルの完成イメージまでを監修する立場でプロジェクトに参加しました。聖剣伝説ファイナルファンタジー外伝を作っていた頃から、自分の頭の中ではモンスターたちは立体的に生き生きと動いて、これまで自分が携わった作品では、それらをどうやって当時の技術で表現できるかにこだわって作ってきました。最新作では、聖剣伝説のモンスターたちのただ可愛いだけではなく、恐ろしさの部分もしっかりと表現できているので、バトル中はモンスターたちの表情にも注目してください。
これまで聖剣伝説シリーズには空を旅する、海を渡る手助けをしてくれる頼もしい仲間たちがいましたが、今作には広大なフィールド探検に欠かせない新たな仲間が登場します。陸上を猛スピードで駆け回ってくれるピックル。ピックルも石井さんが新たに考案してくださっています。
新たな仲間を考えるにあたっては、今作のマスコットキャラクターになるくらい可愛い動物にしたいという漠然とした思いがありました。その上で、ヨークシャテリアの毛並み、見た目はアルマジルによく似た仙山港や古代エジプト神のアヌビスの子供といった具体的なイメージが浮かんできて、それぞれの特徴を取り入れながらラフデザインを書き起こしました。デザイナーにもアイデアを出してもらいながら、足の長さや丸まった時のイメージなど、ゲームの中での見え方も考えながら、調整を重ねていき、ピックルは誕生しました。
もう一つの挑戦は楽曲面です。過去、様々なコンポーザーが携わられた楽曲の雰囲気が感じられつつも、最新作として素晴らしい新たな楽曲が生まれました。BGM でもしっかり聖剣伝説シリーズらしさを感じてもらえると思います。過去シリーズの楽曲を手掛けたクリエイターたちが全100曲という大ボリュームの制作に挑んでくれました。新たな試みとしてフィールドの探索からバトルまでをシームレスに体験できるよう、今作のインタラクティブミュージックを導入しており、冒険の没入感を高めてくれます。探索中の BGM がバトルに入った瞬間、アレンジが切り替わる様を実際に聴いてみましょう。今作はアクション RPG 聖剣伝説のアクション部分が強化されています。空中でのアクションがバトルの鍵となっており、武器での攻撃だけでなく、魔法での攻撃も可能になっています。そして、本作ならではの特徴として、聖剣伝説シリーズではおなじみの精霊たちがいますが、その力を宿した武器を使うと、バトルを手助けしてくれるようになります。精霊によっては様々な特性の違いがありますので、その効果とともに聖剣伝説の世界らしい不思議な力で爽快なバトルを楽しんでいただけます。
オリジナルモンスターやピックルにも注目してほしいのです。聖剣伝説ビジョンズ・オブ・マナーを聖剣伝説らしさを感じてもらえる作品になるよう、小山田君を中心にチームのみんなが頑張って作ってくれていますので、ぜひ 発売日を楽しみに待っていてください。私自身もプレイするのを楽しみにしています。
聖剣伝説シリーズとして初めて Xbox ユーザーの皆さんにお届けする本作、聖剣伝説ビジョンズ・オブ・マナは今後も様々な情報をお届けしていきますので、ぜひご期待ください。この夏、この忘れられない冒険を Xbox ユーザーの皆さんに楽しんでいただける日が今から待ちきれません。
Hello, and welcome to Oxide Games. We founded the studio in 2013 with our decades of personal experience building some of the most beloved strategy games of all time, like Civilization V. We came together to create something new and innovative in a genre we all love. Our History Untold is the game we dreamt of making.
Ara is an homage to historical gamers, strategy gamers, 4X gamers. It features all the depth and gameplay fans of this genre love, where you'll explore the world, expand your nation, govern your people, and engage with your rivals on the international stage. But it isn't just more of the same. With Ara, we wanted to challenge some of the preconceived notions about the genre, push it forward in a modern, empowering, and truly compelling and approachable way.
For example, we have over 100 instruments on display in the office, which are all things that we purchased in order to add to the soundtrack and expand the game and make it really good. Hi, Dan. That's Dan. We started in his basement. It's been an amazing process to see from concept to completion. We started small, building a robust game engine, questioning our design assumptions, and prototyping out features, rediscovering what made us fall in love with strategy games in the first place.
The end result is Ara, the historical grand strategy game that presents a living world where you can rule how you want to rule and chart your own path to becoming the most prestigious nation on the planet.
For Ara, we knew we needed deep systems with outcomes that encourage exploration and give players the power to experiment and make meaningful strategic choices while still having agency over their playstyle.
We also wanted to explore more in different parts of history and give players from around the world the chance to see the game reflect their unique perspective and not just ours.
And finally, we knew that for players to feel the impact of their decisions, they would need to see their choices reflected in the game world itself, not just through numbers on a menu. One of the first differences you'll see when you dive into Ara is what we call the living world. It's a procedurally generated alternate Earth, bursting with life, an intuitive, authentic, and immersive space, a blank canvas for players to paint the society of their dreams.
The living world isn't just a map. It reflects the choices players make over the course of the game. They can see everything from the settling of the wilderness to cultural influence on architecture over time to the thousands of citizens living their lives and reacting to the changes. We want players to feel like they're truly occupying the world, leading their people as they thrive and grow. Core to the vision of Ara is our philosophy of rule how you want to rule. And no feature better exemplifies this than the prestige system.
To win a game of Ara, players will compete with their rivals to build the most influential, impressive, and important nation the world has ever known. This is measured by prestige, the player's score that proves their worth as a leader.
The prestige system gives players the chance to decide what kind of leader they want to be. Do they want to pursue great works of arts and culture? Military might? Scientific advancement? The choice is theirs. In Ara, there are no set victory conditions. Players get to decide what is most important to them and focus and prioritize on those goals while still being able to win the game.
Personally, when I play Ara, I like to build triumphs. Triumphs are our collection of incredible monuments and architectural achievements from throughout human history. Like the Great Pyramid of Giza. They're hard to build, but worth it, giving huge prestige bonuses and game-changing abilities to the nation that constructs them.
Another aspect of Aura that I'm personally excited about is our crafting system.
The crafting system offers a unique challenge to the player that they generally won't see often in the 4X genre. Succeeding at balancing, gathering the right things, turning them into the tools that you need, and then finally getting to the outcome or reward of something like an important improvement or triumph just changes the challenge that exists in Aura compared to other 4X games.
Crafting plays out in Aura at a national scale, with players honing and combining the natural resources they harvest into all manner of goods and components. Those are the foundation for everything, from international trade to improving their cities' and citizens' lives, and even manufacturing the weapons necessary to draft military units. The crafting system in Aura encourages thoughtful, advanced planning. It rewards players who can see the strategic outcome of all their collective decisions, and not just the individual ones.
I'm proud of the work that's gone into our simultaneous turn system. Many strategy games have players alternate taking turns and reacting to their opponent's moves. In Aura, all players' actions are resolved at the same time. This rewards players' ability to navigate uncertainty, to predict and strategically plan for a variety of scenarios in the moment. This system makes Aura just feel more real. In a typical strategy game, once your turn is finished, you have to wait for a long time. With simultaneous turns, generally speaking, those times are very low. You get to keep playing the game and stay engaged rather than having those periods of downtime where you're not doing anything.
It's not easy sifting through all of history and picking what to include. For Aura, we wanted to offer a fresh perspective, so we looked at cultures and societies throughout the millennia with the broadest lens possible.
Where this approach really shines is in our leaders. Leaders are so often seen as military personnel or prominent government figures, but leaders come in so many different forms. They're thought leaders, scientific and cultural prodigies, and many more.
Each leader in Aura has a number of special abilities determined by their personality traits, as well as a powerful and unique leader trait informed by their contributions to world history.
With a diverse global roster, we know players will find leaders that they will want to play, and even a few that may surprise them with how fun it is when those leaders are handed the reins of power.
For us at Oxide, player feedback is the only way to really understand what you're making. It gives us that priceless perspective from the people we're making Aura for, you.
Building the game alongside real players has given us that critical player feedback. In the end, we believe this makes for a deeper connection between the players and the game.
One of my favorite examples is when we first introduced the concept of dangerous wildlife to the game. It turns out, in our first iteration, it was maybe a little bit too aggressive or disruptive. We knew we should probably make a change when one of our insiders made a forum post that was just,
"Cougars, cougars,
cougars, I hate cougars!
Someone get these feline demons away from me." I'm happy to report, based on more recent feedback, that I think we ended up in a good place with the overall threat level of mountain lions to a player's citizenry.
It's been years of hard work to bring you a strategy experience like no other. And we're so excited that we can finally see the finish line. We can't wait for players to get their hands on the game later this year.
But the launch of Aura is only the beginning. We are going to maintain our insider program after the release date and continue to listen to players and support the game into the future.
On behalf of everyone at Oxide Games, thank you for joining us today. We can't wait for you to play Aura and to create your own history.
Hej och välkommen till Uppsala, Sverige, här hos Machine Games. We are really excited to finally be able to share our work on Indiana Jones. Since the first film came out, Indiana Jones has always represented the ultimate adventure. Even today, it's one of the most iconic franchises in pop culture. In this game, you aren't just playing as Indy, you are Indiana Jones. You will see through his eyes and experience a journey that we hope lives up to the proud legacy of Indiana Jones. When Todd Howard first told us about his vision for the game, we knew we would be a very good fit to help bring it to life.
I've wanted to make an Indiana Jones game forever. I'd had this idea for what it would be like and the story, what Indy was going after, what period of his life it was in, what kind of arc he was going to have. And as the years went on, I thought, who would be like the best studio in the world to make this? And it was my friends at Machine Games. I can remember pitching Lucasfilm on the game and being, a little bit nervous because, look, it's, Indiana Jones. And their response was just overwhelmingly positive, and just that excitement has bled through the whole project. And they have just been so trusting and supportive of everything that we want to do with the game. It's been a long time. I've been a fan of this my whole life, and I couldn't be more excited to show you what the team here has been up to. Let's take our first look at the new Indiana Jones game.
Let me tell you what you are missing, Dr. Jones. While you were playing your pointless game, I was playing you. You're wondering if maybe you should have built yourself a life of meaning instead of ending up here, dead and forgotten in the sands of Africa.
Myths, history, just different ways to interpret the past. Thousands of years of humanity's thoughts and beliefs scattered and buried, just waiting to be found.
Can't just run away from your problems, Indiana.
Watch me. Throughout history, mankind has built sites of great spiritual significance. If you were to draw a line through these ancient sites around the world, you get a perfectly aligned circle. I've had run-ins with these guys before. Trust me, it ain't a walk in the park.
Hey, let's see if you can keep up.
What do you mean if I can keep up? Patron of the fallen angels, protector of the true human mind, the great circle. You have any idea how old that was?
Indiana Jones is such an iconic character, and he means so much to so many people. Everyone here at the studio has their own Indy stories and memories. Most of us grew up with his adventures and have been fans of the movies and the character for years. He's a brilliant archaeologist, he's a charismatic everyman, he's passionate and determined. And for us, he's synonymous with adventure.
Now we have the opportunity to tell a new Indiana Jones story for a modern gaming audience. Our game is all about putting you in Indy's shoes, letting you see and feel what he sees and feels. For us at Machine Games, we do that best through first person. It's the ideal perspective to bring you into the rich, exciting and interactive world we've built. We believe that being up close and personal to the adventure is key, making each action feel like your own.
Whether it's cracking your whip, solving puzzles in ancient temples, or seeing your knuckles go bloody in a fistfight, all of these moments are much more intense in first person.
But we still want you to have those moments. Seeing his iconic silhouette with a hat, whip, and so for things like cutscenes and environmental traversal, we pull the camera back for a third-person view. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle is set between Raiders of the Lost Ark and The Last Crusade.
When our game begins, Indiana is working at Marshall College. He wakes up in the middle of the night to the sounds of a break-in and rushes to confront the thief in the college museum. The mysterious giant of a man makes off with what seems to be a historically insignificant artifact, sparking Indiana's curiosity. Following the trail, Indiana heads to the Vatican, hoping to learn why this particular relic was stolen, and discovers that things aren't what they appear.
He starts pulling at the strings of a mystery, and it all unravels until he has no choice but to see it through to the end, whatever the end may be.
Let's play the role. Stop. Need help. Stop. Leave the impact.
We always talk about how clever Indiana Jones is. That had to be one of our guiding principles when we were thinking about the type of game we were making. It wouldn't be indie if he wasn't using his wits to get through the situation. The most authentic Indiana Jones experience we can make is the one that makes you think first.
Sure, there will be some obstacles that will be more easily overcome with the revolver or a gun taken from a disarmed guard. But I think most of the time you'll have more fun, and to be honest, a more genuine indie experience by finding more clever ways to solve a problem.
We always want to be offering more solutions, whether it's trying a different path through the environment to get around enemies, observing enemy patrols and using them to your advantage, or using the tools at your disposal, like the whip.
It's an amazing global adventure, with action propelling you through your journey.
We have these really diverse environments for you to explore. Indy's journey will take him to the forgotten temples of Sukhothai, the pyramids of Egypt, the snow-peaked Himalayas, and beyond.
We look carefully at each location and the time period the game is set in, and we're trying to make it as authentic and accurate as possible.
We love creating rich, vibrant worlds, and in this game, we also had the goal of making it feel like a true cinematic Indiana Jones adventure.
One of the biggest ways to do that is with the music. John Williams is the original composer for the indie films, and we're really lucky to have found Gordy Hub, a composer who's been able to capture Williams' essence with his score for The Great Circle.
We also take a very movie-like approach to things like cinematics. We're very physical with our production style. We use a lot of stunt actors. Things like this help us bridge the gap between making a game and making a movie.
And of course, our characters do a lot to help bring the world to life as well. Next to Indy, Gina is our other main protagonist. Where Indy is pursuing answers just for the sake of curiosity, Gina has a personal stake in getting to the bottom of the core mystery.
Gina is an investigative reporter who has a lot riding on this adventure. She's been tracking a lead for some time, and now she's found an ally in this determined American professor. Their paths are intertwined, and they'll need each other in order to get to the bottom of this mystery.
Okay, let's even
What do you mean if
We always love our villains and think we might have found our favorite one yet in Emmerich Voss. He's this intensely psychological man. He's obsessed with the human mind and manipulating it.
He's highly intelligent and the perfect foil for Indy. They're both brilliant people, compelled by their passions and obsessions, but driven down wildly different roads.
He creeps up on you and gets under your skin like he gets under Indy's skin. It's captivating.
Forgotten in the sense of Africa.
One of our mottos for Indiana Jones and the Great Circle is adventure first. But in every indie adventure, there are always those moments where he finds himself in the action.
That's been one of those balancing acts for us, and we've ended up with this sort of hybrid experience that mixes melee combat, stealth, and gunplay.
How you approach any given situation is up to you. You may choose to sneak around an enemy patrol, or maybe you'll just pick up a shovel and whack them on the back of their head.
And when you can't use your wits, you got Indy's most iconic tool. Just like you see in the movies, one of our goals has been to make the whip as fun and multi-purpose as possible. We want it integrated into every aspect of the game.
You can use it as a traversal tool to make your way around the environment. You can use it as a distraction. And yes, you can absolutely use it in combat. Everything you'd expect from Indy's whip, and hopefully a little bit more. Puzzles are a key feature in our game. The spirit of discovery is so important to Indiana Jones. Obviously, there are a handful of puzzles on the main path, but a lot of the puzzles are optional and are just there for the players who want to experience them. Epic traps, small secrets, and hidden puzzles that blend right in with their surroundings.
One thing I love about our game is the level of interactivity that we have. We have this world of mystery where anything could potentially hide a secret. The more you look, the more you'll discover.
God. I want to thank you all for joining us for our big reveal of Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. Machine Games is known for creating these rollercoaster experiences with huge set pieces, surprising twists, and immersive narratives. It's exciting for us that we have been able to stay so true to the Indiana Jones franchise and create such an authentic experience while still being able to showcase what makes us us. We are making a game for everyone, whether you are very familiar with the franchise or not. Because at the heart of Indiana Jones is an incredible adventure, and I think that's something everyone wants to be part of. I'm also very excited to announce Indiana Jones and the Great Circle will be coming later this year, and we cannot wait to share more soon.